Welcome to another episode of Get Real with Liz, and today I have a special guest, friend, colleague, client, everything, all of the above. Mave, can you formally introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are, where you come from? And
Sure thing. My name is Mave Holdin. I'm a colleague of Elizabeth. I'm new to the world of real estate as far as being an agent, licensed realtor. I guess I can call that myself that now.
Right.
I have been a nurse for 30 years, over 30 years.
Wow.
And, but it has been a journey. So it's been, but I met Liz working as I'm currently a school nurse. And I met Liz while doing community service at Judkins. She volunteers for our career day. And I'm always there. I always support my students no matter what. And
luckily enough, our spots are right next to each other every year.
Yeah. I've always been really interested in real estate, and I've started redoing homes back in the 90s. My first home, didn't have a lot of money, so we bought the worst home on the block, of course, and redid it completely. And, everything, laid the hardwood, did the tile, took the classes at Home Depot, did everything. And so it's from that, we just kept on going. And I've just learned through the years, and as every time you just add information, and finally, a number of people said, why don't you just get your license? And, I'm kind of at the point in my nursing career and in my life that I'm like, well, what really kind of, I don't know, Marie Kondoing it. What sparks joy,
Right.
What sparks joy?
What's your purpose? What brings you joy and happiness?
You just really inspired me when we spoke about real estate, and I wanted to be, involved and learn from someone who was involved with the community. That was really important to me.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, right now you said that back in the 90s, you bought a property with not so much money. You got a fixer-upper, and you were taking classes at Home Depot. How was that experience?
Well, that was Home Depot in the 90s. Actually, it hasn't changed that much. But they offered a lot of classes back then. They had classes all the time. You could go and they would just show you how to do things.
Oh, wow.
And they had tiling class, and they had how to lay hardwood. And so I took the class and learned how to do it. And it wasn't that, fortunately, tiling hasn't changed very much. I don't think that that's something that's a lot has changed.
Right.
So, but I actually have updated my tile saw. I still have it, and I actually just put in a countertop about 2 years ago. And actually, no, it was a year and a half ago. So I've still busted out and remember all my stuff. But it's just adding knowledge. And you don't realize how your life experience continues to just add. And, and as I got into real estate, I was saying I was a new realtor.
Right. Congratulations, by the way.
Yes, got my license. But I was doing my bio, and I realized I'd actually been involved in real estate for decades.
Wow.
And so,
a lot of the times you don't really know until you actually sit down and you're like, wow, I did that. Oh, yeah, I did that. And then now you're like reminiscing on all the things that you did. You also said I know personally that you said you have a cabin and other flips that you've done. How was that experience?
You go in, and there's always just having to overcome the fear. You just walk in and it's just, you're going to do something and you're not even sure how you're going to do it. And a lot of time with all property, I think this happens with all property. You're like, I don't even know what I don't know yet with the property, because every property has
something,
secrets. Every property has secrets. And as you get there and you start to uncover them, and you're like, oh, really? And here's this. And,
it's like that when they say if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong within the first year usually.
Yeah, someone very early on said it's always going to be twice the money and 3 times the time, or 3 times the money and twice the time. It's either one of those two, and so I always remember that, and it's kind of true.
It is true.
But just learning to just not just take it in stride
Right.
that there is going to be those surprises, and look at them as opportunities to, improve on the property, and opportunities to, improve if it's your dwelling, to make it more your own.
Right.
If it's a flip, to make it more maybe suitable for something different, to change it up to something more to your style maybe, or to make it more compatible with your plan,
Right. Right.
And if nothing else, you can say, and I've done that to it,
Right. Right.
which,
and it's always a learning experience, right? Because you can try to do something and then it ends up being like, okay, that doesn't work. Let me try something else. But it's always a learning experience.
you always learn. And as you get professionals around you, I always stay with them as they are working, and I learn from them as I watch them work or ask them questions. I'm always trying to work around them, not get in their way so much, but do my own thing, but kind of be around them and watch.
Yeah, like
as
you're
they
more
work.
hands-on. You're like, let me see, I can do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so you're telling me that you've been in the nursing career for 30 years already. Are you excited to retire pretty soon, or?
I don't think I will actually ever fully retire from nursing. I really do love it. I love health I'm very passionate about health. I'm very passionate about helping people improve their health and moving people towards health.
Right.
I've done a lot in the health. I've been a case manager. I've done occupational health. I've been in factories. I started up in Oregon. So I started up in like lumber mills and steel mills up there. And I did some of that. I was a legal nurse for a while where I represented for defense. And those were very big cases. I went into the hospital. I did nights for about 20 years.
Oh, wow.
No, less than 20 years, but I did a lot of nights. And
The sacrifices.
I floated in big hospital systems down here in California, Scripps down in the San Diego area, and then St. John's and and there they have the John Wayne Cancer Institute. So, there was telemetries and ICU and oncology and orthopedics. And then, so I've been and postpartum, after that, I've held a lot of babies, and it's just, you are able to be a part of people's lives.
Right.
I've done hospice and chronic disease. And now I'm a school nurse. I have two middle schools down in Lucia Mar, and I love my middle schools.
Right.
I love my middle schoolers. I do. My wolf pups, I call them, they're fun.
Right.
And it's just such an age that I think a lot of people say, teenagers, and kind of have a weird fear about that.
Right.
And kind of dismiss them, but they need they need presence.
Oh,
in
yeah,
their
they
life
do. They do.
so much. And their health is changing profoundly, and they actually are becoming more aware of health. And because as their bodies change, and it's a really, really important time
Oh, yeah.
for them, because their bodies are becoming
Right.
they're becoming more aware of their body
Right.
in a big way. And so they need guidance there. And I'm hoping to go part-time soon, but I'm sure I will remain in the health field. But as far as my real estate focus goes, I think that people with disabilities and people with medical needs is one of my things that, as I did home health for a while, is one of those things that I went into homes and I saw over and over again that people were needing some guidance with what to do with their home, or they were in the wrong home, or maybe, and as I'm going to be helping people sell or buy,
accessibility,
that is going to be a huge focus, like something that I can really speak to.
Right.
I really understand what you need.
Right. You're passionate about it. So
I am.
You can portray that into real estate, where you're going to be able to help them have better accessibility to their new home or their current home.
Yeah. You just can't, if you're already, having mobility concerns, like you are already like, you're a senior and you're downsizing.
Right.
It's not going to, you need to really be aware of that. And that should be like, not like, these stairs aren't good, you know,
Right.
you really single floor plans.
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
and I see that a lot.
Making sure that there's width to the doorways,
Right.
making sure that you can maneuver around the kitchen. Just how can you get to the garage? You know,
Right.
is the garage accessible to the house and is it flat surface? You know, carrying loads of groceries,
Right.
you know, from your car to the house. Can you do that?
Right.
You know, as the next 10 years go, that little things like that make a huge difference. And I think just making awareness of that is really important.
It is very important that you say that, because I've had previous clients as well that they fall in love with the 2-story house and everything about it, but they have knee surgery and, you know, they cannot go up and down those stairs. And it's like, reality check. I'm here to provide a service and kind of focus on the facts, right? Just kind of like the same thing with you. You know, your whole purpose will be focusing on the facts, like, hey, are you sure you really want this 2-story home? Because, you know, you did mention that you just had a knee surgery. You know, it's going to be tough on your knee and stuff like that. Just awareness.
Yeah, the whole point of you know, our lives is to have enjoyment.
Right.
And I see so many people being kind of the house becomes not as enjoyable when it becomes it's too big. It's not maneuverable. There's too much yard to take care of. You can't get to your car. You can't get to the garden. It just becomes unmanageable, and that becomes disappointing. You know, I think
that's a really good point that you brought up right now, because, you know, we're going to see clients that are like, we want, you know, like me, we want a ranch with acreage and this and that, but you don't realize the time and energy that you're going to have to invest in that property. You know, cutting grass, for example, you know, right now with the fires and all that stuff, making sure that the grass is cut. The same thing, you know, where you're saying the 2 stories, you know, but not too big of a house. And in reality, we don't really need that big of a house, or vice versa. We get something super small thinking, oh, we'll make it work because it's affordable. But in reality, you're overcrowded. So, I mean, these are things that are important for us to let them know. And in the nursing career, not only are you helping in health, but you're also empathetic, you know, like you understand and we're, you know, helping families generally.
Yeah. And I think that's really, we always want what we want, but sometimes it is magical thinking. And there's just, you know, there's just ways that you can be like, just remember what your body, there's great ways to say that. I've been saying it. I mean, I've been a bedside nurse for a long, long time.
Right.
And, you know, when people are like, I'm going to get out of this bed. I'm like, let me help you, please.
Right.
And then they really try, and, they realize that they can't hold their weight.
Right.
And then that's that moment where it's like, oh, wow, you know, and I really think that it's just really important that they, I really want people to enjoy their lives. They want to stay in their home as long as possible. In order to do that, you need to have a home that works for you as long as possible. Right. You know, so that's everyone wants to have their independence at home. Right. You know, that's everyone's goal.
It's okay to ask for help.
Yeah. But that's, in order to do that, you need to buy a home that you know, it goes for as long as good. Right.
So, and you also mentioned that we met at Career Day, obviously.
Love my middle schools. Judkins Career Day, and Holding has one too. Right. But I met you at Judkins.
At Judkins. I was invited to Judkins, and I've been going ever since, and I love it. And you're right about that age is so critical. Like, especially when I do the pathways where I interview the students, you know, it's more personable, and they just kind of like tell you, like, they want you to be a part of them, and it's just so rewarding. So rewarding.
Yeah, the being able to really see them start to have that first moment where, because they're going to be going into high school, these are eighth graders, and they're going to be going to high school, and there's that first moment where they're like, "Oh, I'm going to have a life beyond this," and they're starting to actually conceptualize that they are not going to be just a student forever. And it's starting to slowly creep in that there's, that they're going to be working towards something.
And it is important for people to be around them, because that's the critical time where they're going to start making decisions on who they're going to be hanging out with, what kind of direction that they're going to be going. So it's very important for people to be involved in their lives around that time.
Yes, it is very, very important. Yeah, I have a lot of kids that they really still need their parents.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So
I know, I love it.
I know.
I get letters from them after Career Day and Pathways. I'm like, oh, like they do remember the little things that I said. So it's really, really rewarding.
That's part of that's part of that job, is that they have to write you a thank you note.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them have never even written a formal letter to an adult before. A lot of them have never written a letter, period. So that is a lot of that. They've never addressed an envelope. They don't know how to do that. They do not know how to write an address. So it's a great exercise in that.
No, I really like it. I enjoy it. So now that you're a real estate agent, again, congratulations. How has your journey been so far?
It's been
thrown into overwhelmed?
the fire here. No, well, I'm someone who's always been really engaged with education. I have my master's in nursing, and I've just been someone who's always been interested in learning as much as I can. So just kind of learning, after you get kind of the book, getting that and passing the test, there's still just so much to learn. Then there's the actual doing the job. Because and that's very different. Than passing the test.
Oh yeah. And that's kind of what I wanted you to talk a little bit about, that because everybody thinks like, oh my gosh, I'm overstressed trying to learn every single little thing in that book to take the test. And I was like, just focus on keywords, because a lot of that stuff is going to be irrelevant. It's more, once you're in the career business, it's like, wait, I never really learned that, so.
Yeah, it's about the passing the test. I just did practice tests. I signed up for some practice test person I just Googled best practice tests and I signed up for them, and I just did practice tests till my eyeballs bled practically. and it served me well. I mean, I was in and out of there in like for 35 minutes and passed, no problem. But I just kept on going. And now though, it's really about learning, how does this where do I start? And, you've helped me so much, but I've, engaging with, the resources from the California, CAR, from the NAR. There's resources. There's so many resources. A lot of it has been kind of just weeding through
what's important and
what's important. And honestly, a lot of it is me going through and being like, is this valuable? Is this not valuable? And to some extent, I'm looking on to some different other websites, and querying.
Yeah, because it's a lot.
Querying, do realtors find this valuable? I'm just putting it into Google. So blah, blah, blah. Do realtors actually like this website? Do they find it valuable? And, and who are their competitors? And if who do they feel, who's better at this? So I'm like, because at this point, I really kind of don't want to waste my time very much. I don't have a whole lot of time to waste. I got busy. I have my job. I have my son. I have my house and, dog, cat, 2 lizards. And, And so we got a lot going on. And so
you want to work smarter, not
smarter, not harder. And so and I also know what I do well. And one thing I have learned in my 30 years is know what you do well, do that.
Right.
And then what you don't do well, hire other people
Right.
to do. You don't
Right.
be afraid to spend money on things that you don't know how to do.
Right.
You know, and just like in the
Say
house.
it again for the people in the back that can't hear.
Yeah. For instance, I do not do electricity. I hire electricians.
Right.
I don't even try.
Right.
If I have an electrical problem, I hire I call my electrician. He trots on over and deals with it.
Right.
You know, there's other things I can troubleshoot, but I don't even mess with the electrical.
Right.
You know, and I can do a lot of landscaping, but when it comes to really heavy landscaping, I call a guy.
Right.
Like I know what I can do and I know what I can't. And that's, I think, a huge thing in life is don't waste your time fighting the windmill. You know, it's that just know when to cut it. So like right now it's this I'm not a very big social media person. I actually have very little presence. I of the age where there was no social media.
Right.
And so I'm aware that I need to become social media.
Yeah, it's adapting to change, basically.
It's adapting and change. And so I have hired, a company to help me with that.
Correct.
And then it will be, then I can maintain it no problem.
Right.
And the nice thing is by them doing that, I will actually learn how to do it too. And I will become much, much better.
Oh, yeah.
So,
but starting and like it's time consuming, the energy, you don't know where to go, what to do. It's easier to just kind of let somebody else take care of it.
It is good to know if you have the ability, it is good to know what you do well.
Right.
Or who in your life can help you. I mean, teenagers are fabulous.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you don't say, I don't have the resources.
Even an 8-year-old nowadays, I'm like,
my
what?
goodness. Anyone under 20 can probably set up an Instagram account faster
I had my nephew and my niece. I took them to a fast food restaurant or whatever. And all of a sudden they open up the hamburger, like the box of the hamburger. That's what they want, a hamburger. So they open up the box of the hamburger and then they put the opening from the hamburger, they put the straw through there. So the hamburger is laying on top of their Coke. So all they're doing is holding their Coke, taking a bite, putting it back. I'm like, oh my gosh, kids, you guys are so smart. And these are 8-year-olds, okay? I'm like, where'd you guys learn that? Oh, TikTok. I'm like, what? What do you guys know about TikTok? I don't even had a TikTok by then, but they are so computer savvy right now.
Oh yeah. So I mean, there's always a workaround that is very inexpensive, and I think that there's ways that you can. There's always someone in your life who can help you.
Right.
There's always someone in your life. There's resources. You don't be limited by thinking it's an adult.
Right.
Because in this age, there's a lot of great young people around, nieces, nephews, a colleague's friend or college student or something like that who maybe, we have Cal Poly here. Oh my goodness, huge resource,
Yeah.
And those middle schools full of kids who know a lot about stuff, or high schools, the high schools have a lot of pathways. There's, and like at AG High, for instance, a lot of people don't know this, but the high schools have like a beauty pathway where they actually have a beauty school in the high school.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can get your hair cut and they'll do the haircuts there. And so there's I think there's the automotive as well. And so the high schools have a lot of things where they're doing hands-on like that.
Oh, wow.
And so you'd be surprised. I think there's photography as well. And there's a lot of resources.
Oh, yeah.
Lots of resources. If you need a headshot, I can guarantee you can find a high school student who can probably help you out.
Or even, like you said, Cal Poly or Cuesta.
Anymore, though, I swear, those kids are better at taking, let's take that headshot. I
know they're like, what? The angles, I'm like, they take like a picture from this angle. I'm like, okay, I just asked for one picture. But they know all the angles for sure.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, so I'm really excited that, you're going to start this real estate journey and you have a new listing.
I do.
Can you tell us a little bit about it?
It is actually my own house. So it was an opportunity that came up and it was kind of a whole family venture. It was an unusual house in Los Osos that was owned by an eccentric man, and it was built in the 1990s, and it's on Rodman Drive. It's a big brick house. If you go on Rodman, it looks very castle-like, and it's a big brick house. And it was previously had been tried to be sold for a number of reasons by the previous owner. He had lived there for almost 20 years. And but it has a really interesting history. It was built by a gentleman who spared no expense and wanted to build a Bavarian castle. Spared no expense. He almost got done, was almost there, and was just going to put in some flooring, and he went bankrupt. So the bank took it in 94, and the bank held it for 11 years. Oh, wow. And just put a little bit of flooring in it, rented it a little bit, I believe. That's kind of what I can figure out. And then the prior owner bought it and finished it. And he was someone who was really extravagant. And he brought the builder brought people over from Europe to craftsmen to build it. So the indoor the paneling inside of it, the craftsmanship is very, very old world feel to it. And then the prior owner who bought it in 2005 also brought people over from Europe. But his vision was a Venetian castle. So he did kind of a bit of a different spin on it. When it was finally sold at auction, there was not a lot of bids. There were a lot of low bids there. And the reason for that was there was a lot of work to be done. And the price and the low interest, I think, reflected that. And because that was what I walked through, and I thought to myself, there is a lot. My mind almost exploded with the amount of work that I would have to do. But I had just redone a mid-century modern house, and I had just completely, from plumbing through down to studs plumbing, redone a cabin up at Bass Lake. And I thought, I can do it. It might kill me, but I can do this. But I also kind of knew what it should look like because I lived in Europe in my 20s. And my husband had also lived in England. So we kind of knew what it should look like. And I knew it was going to be a meticulous, because it's more of a restoration as well as a renovation. And I just knew there was a lot to do. Right.
Because you wanted to keep the uniqueness of it, but just make it more.
You had to match. You had to match a lot of what was there. It was all over the place. Yeah. And so I knew there was going to be a lot of late nights on Etsy, trying to find the vintage thing.
And when you went to go look at it, you weren't planning on buying it.
No, not at all.
So that's for everybody out there that always say, I'm just looking. Yeah, you just never know. It might be your opportunity.
I thought to myself, I was really inspired by the house. And actually what I was inspired by to do it was actually the craftsmanship in the house.
Right.
Because the craftsmanship
everybody has to go look at this property. It's amazing.
But the craftsmanship was so clearly meticulous. The people who had done the house was so meticulous. And it was the woodwork that just was so stunning and I thought
the woodwork
really needs to be honored.
The brick.
Yeah, the brick is just one of a kind. And I had a bricklayer, one of the Taylor Vreeken, who does with the home inspector, who I had him do kind of a forensic inspection to tell me everything that was wrong so I could fix it. And he said that he lays brick, and he's like, it would take me 5 years to scaffold this brick. Wow. It would take forever. And the brick is actually imported from Europe. So it's all handmade brick. And and now that he kind of pointed out some things to me, and now I have more appreciation for it. And I was appreciated before, but now I'm like, holy mackerel. Now I see how perfectly the lines are and how perfectly laid out it is. And he's like, this was definitely done by someone who's. So it was inspiring I was inspired by the craftsmen who originally did the house to honor them, kind of. And I also did see it as an opportunity for sure, but I also knew it was going to be a lot of work. And it was. We actually spent every waking moment on it for 2 years, pretty much. So, and here we are. And the grounds took a lot. And it was a full restoration of the whole grounds, the whole house. And I mean, I just actually counted up. There's 16 faucets in the house. of the 16 faucets, I replaced 12.
Oh, wow.
Of the 12, I redid the plumbing on 8.
Oh, wow.
And of those 8, I actually had to open up the wall and redo everything on 3.
Oh,
so
wow.
like that is like kind of what ended up happening.
Right.
And that's like almost every system I can tell, like that was what ended up happening with a lot of the systems on that. Like the electrical kind of followed that. So I ended up kind of running it through a generator. It was about a 45 to 50% restoration / renovation on the property.
Well, that sounds
It's a
like
lot.
Yeah. But for
anyway,
everybody,
it is very pretty though. It is
it is gorgeous.
Property.
That's what I was just gonna say. If anybody wants to schedule a showing or knows anybody that's interested in purchasing it,
heck, just come and look. It's fun. It's very unique. It's the on top of the beauty of it.
Right.
It's very dramatic. Even if you go look at it online, it doesn't give you the scale of how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
It is. It does feel castle-like inside. I put in about 2,400 square feet of travertine, as well as redid another 1,000 foot of flooring with some other materials. But it has 2 private decks, completely private. It backs up onto Montaña de Oro. You have a private gate onto Montaña de Oro. You have a full view of the bay, Morro Rock. If on a clear, it's just beautiful. And at night, it's beautiful. It's just you don't get that kind of privacy so close to services. It's really unique that way.
Yeah, you get the best of both worlds, I always say.
And on the inside is so romantic at night.
The ambiance.
Is truly romantic. So yeah, it's really pretty.
What's it going for?
It is right now at 3.4.
Oh, okay.
So schedule your showing.
Just come and look.
We're also going to be
fun.
doing a Twilight open house on Thursday for all of you guys that want to go check it out. So you can see the ambiance at night and what she's talking about when they dim the lights and you can see Morro Rock and the sunset.
So pretty. And you can toast some marshmallows.
Yeah, exactly.
Have some marshmallows. Enjoy yourself. It's a fun house. If nothing else, you will never probably be in another house like this one.
Right.
It was my husband said it's one of those houses that feels like you should have a docent.
Right.
And it's super fun. It's one of those houses from the outside, it looks, but once you step into the foyer, like everyone's like, wow. Yeah. And then there's a couple windows that are just kind of mind blowing.
Right.
So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And it's just, no matter what.
Right.
It's fun.
Yeah. So who knows? You might know that special buyer because it's going to need a special buyer for that particular house. So
yeah, it will find its person. I have total faith that it will find its person because it's that kind of house that will.
Yeah.
And but that's where my journey started. And the funny thing is, it's kind of like almost like a fulcrum, a pivot, where my prior career of all this has now pivoted on top of this, and now I'm here with you, Liz, and we're gonna start your new venture with Salt and Oak, and it's gonna be a real fun time.
Yeah, I'm really excited. So anything else you would like to say as well?
That's just fun things in life. You just never know what's around the corner.
Right.
That's the thing that just keeps on going is like, I was scared to go into this and I was like thinking I didn't know.
Don't be scared.
But the nice thing is, again, you don't know who you know.
Right.
And I found Liz, happened to be next to me, and now I'm here and I'm meeting people, and there's just, like the realtors are just so welcoming, and there's just a lot of great culture in this county, and I'm just really looking forward to helping people. I'm helping them. And also I have a huge passion for animals. I actually was going to be a vet. I got accepted vet school before I ended up becoming a nurse. And like I said, I love even reptile. Like my son's a huge reptile person. Right. And I like really unusual animals. Right. And but I've bred boxers and Labradors, and we have horses, so I'm really big on animals. We raise pigs right now. We're in 4-H.
I know.
Go 4-H. I'm really into 4-H. We show at the fair every year. So
the California Mid-State Fair?
California Mid-State Fair. We do swine 4-H.
So you guys can go say hi to her son over there. He's gonna have a pig.
Just come to the fair and have fun. Yeah, don't even worry about, but the livestock is always great. The livestock exhibits, just walk through the barns. The kids spend so much time
and
on
energy.
those livestock.
Oh yeah, they put a lot of work on these animals. So
and it's fun to, if you're at the auction, just fun to see the auction go sometimes. And it's really great. 4-H and FFA are such great programs.
Oh yeah.
So
leadership
plug
skills.
for the fair.
yeah. Leadership skills. It teaches the kids.
Yeah.
How can they reach out to you? I know that you said that you just are about to start.
I'm setting up right now. I'm just Mave Holdin Realtor at gmail.com. I don't think I have any social media presence to be fair.
But you will.
I will. I do have a digital card
that
links to not a whole lot. I do have this great digital card though.
It's all about starting, right? So
it's all about
baby
starting.
steps.
But Liz knows how to get a hold of me. So she's
so send her an email or phone number that they can reach you at, or
805-801-4070. That's me. So.
And would you like to end it with a quote or inspirational saying? I know that you said anything's around the corner, but anything else that you want to?
I'm just really passionate about helping people. That's actually where I really am at. And it's really about serving the community, serving people, serving the community, and serving, the creatures of, all the family.
Right. All the reptiles and everything.
All the feathers, fins, tails, paws, scales, whatever's there.
Nothing scares her. That's what she's saying.
I am not scared of anything. So that is one of my things, is I'm pretty fearless. That's something that has always been said. And I've also been told never play 20 questions, or what is it? Three truths and a lie. Never play that with me, because I've got a lot of interesting experience.
That's funny. Well, there you go. So if you need anybody to help out in any service, or need any questions with nursing or real estate or animals, anything, feel free to reach out to her anytime. Send me a direct message if you want us to talk about something specific in real estate or motivational, inspirational, anything. Feel free to reach out to us. And thank you again for listening to us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, thank you, Liz. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure.